My name's Kevin Eikenberry. I will be your host and your facilitator and guide in this process.
Hi, I'm Gabriella Parenti, award-winning consultant, speaker, and author on all things leadership, human resources, and equality in the workplace.
Welcome to these sessions on leading change effectively. I'm your instructor, Scott Moutz, and I'm so excited to have you with me here because the topic couldn't be more important and it couldn't be more difficult.
I've got to coach that person up. And so maybe in your mind, or maybe in the minds of your team or in your organization, coaching means there's a problem. So let's just get past that a little bit and talk about what coaching means to me, since you're going to be hearing about this from me for a while. So let's talk about what I think coaching is. To me, coaching is about closing a gap in our performance. So let me put this over here and see if I can't make this a little clearer. So you can see my cursor there. We're going to use that a little bit. So this is where we want people to be. This is the expected job performance. This is the standard that we need people to get to. If someone's skill or behavior or results is down here below that line, then we want to close the gap, right? We want to help that person move from there to here, which means that's closing the gap between something less than expected up to the expected level.
Reflecting on your experiences can help you identify patterns and recognize your strengths. Assessments. Assessments can be a great tool for identifying your strengths. The Clifton Strength Finders assessment, for example, identifies an individual's top 5 strengths out of a list of 34. This can provide valuable insight into what you excel at and help you use those strengths in your executive role. The VIA Character Strengths Assessment is another popular tool that identifies an individual's character strengths and virtues. Feedback from others. According to a survey by Gallup, individuals who receive feedback on their strengths are more likely to feel engaged and less likely to leave their jobs. Asking for feedback from trusted colleagues, friends, or family members can provide valuable insight into your strengths. These individuals may have a different perspective and can provide feedback on areas you may have not even considered.
We were looking to see if there would be any themes that would come up. And the thing is with research is you don't always get what you're looking for. You might ask these thousands and thousands of executives and find out there's no really common theme, no statistically significant breakout of data that you can share as a conclusion. That happens sometimes with research. Not in this case. It was crystal clear. We saw over and over and over again. When asking people about, think of change leaders you admire and what makes them so good, 5 things kept coming up over and over again. And I want to share them with you now in hopes that you'll emulate these 5 skills. Because when you do, it's the first fastest step to showing up as a really powerful leader of change. So how do great change leaders show up to 5 C's? Let's dive into the first C. Maybe you could guess this one. Most often people can. It's so important as a leader of change, if you want to be effective, to show up calm. You see, because emotions run high in times of change. And you don't want to fuel that frenzy. You don't want to create more angst and anxiety and fear. There's enough of that already, right?
What are the tactics? Someone said, I want to get to tactics, Kevin. What are the tactics that we can use to give more effective feedback? We've said a couple already. We've said that we should be specific, and we've said that it should be balanced, right? Some positive and some negative. But beyond those 2 things, just unmute or put in the chat, either one, doesn't matter. What would you say are important tactics for giving better, more effective. I don't mean better as in more positive. I mean better as in more effective at the feedback being delivered, right? Understood, right? So I see timely. What else? Specific. Yep, specific. Reasoning, actionable. I love that. What do you mean by reasoning, Eric?
Like the why of why you're giving that feedback, or why you think it should be done a certain way, so that they have a better understanding.
Explaining the why, okay? Which gets at its meaning, that it's meaningful, right? Shannon says when it happens, like I see this happening in these situations, right? So that to me is a specific piece of being specific. But the other thing that gets at is that it's observable. This is when I'm seeing it, right? And Kayla's saying share the implications of doing it different, thinking about the feed forward piece, right? Clear in both purpose and direction forward. Like, why am I giving it? Michael's saying, as well as the implication to it moving forward. It's like summarizing several of the things that have been said is what I'm reading from that. Michael, what else? An example of how it's not being met with an example of what it would look like to do it effectively, expressing your belief that they can. So Caroline is like putting it all together into a package. All of that is important. So examples, which helps us be specific, right? Why it matters, what it looks like, positive feed forward, what it looks like when we do get there, and a belief that they can get there. All of that is important and useful. All right, I got to keep moving. So I want to share this model with you, which I think is really wonderful, right? So this is the model that we use and we teach, and you can see that it appears to have maybe 6-7 parts. 4, 5, 6 around the outside and 1 in the middle. So let's talk a little bit about this model, and then I'll walk you through it a little bit. So the first thing you'll notice about this model is that it's circular, which is sort of like how learning happens. Like it's sort of a circular process. This isn't a flow chart. This isn't a if this, then do this. This is a thing where we start someplace, but we might have to go backward. We might have, notice there are no numbers. We are going to start at 12 o'clock, but we might have to move back and forth and around. It's flexible in that regard. And notice that support is in the middle. Now, I don't know about you, but if you ordered a pizza, you would cut all the way through it. And if this were a pizza, there would be 6 slices of pizza, and support would be part of every slice. That's the way I want you to think about this. In other words, you do each of these steps in a supportive way.